Good evening, everybody. So I've got another one for you today. This is what they call the ladder rack. What I've done already is I start out with a little bit more than I usually need. That way I can make it to the length I want without having to worry about if I'm going to be short or not. But so anyway, I've got 12 feet of black here, which I think is probably going to be more than enough. And then I've also got about 8 feet of green, neon green. And I've already used the cow's hitch on this buckle here, which real simple to do. You can refer to one of my other videos to get that. Actually, if you look for the picture, look for this one, the gray Cobra. That'll show you exactly what to do for your first step. Alright, so I got the cow's hitch here on this end. So what I want to do, I want to connect my buckle, and this just makes it a little easier, that's all. Flip this over, and then I'm going to pull this through so that I don't have any twists. And then bring the buckle back like this and just put your paracord up through there. And I've already melted the ends and flattened them. You might be able to see it like that. Makes it a lot easier to get them through that buckle. Almost too easy. Alright, and if you follow that step just like I showed you, then you won't have any crosses of your paracord. See, we're nice and even, one on one side, one on the other, without them crossing. Okay, now this is where you would set your measurement. So if you want to do an 8-inch bracelet, you set this to 8 inches, 9-inch, 7-inch, whatever. Now I've been looking online at a few different places, and I also have a book that shows this bracelet in it. Again, it's called the ladder rack. It shows it being done in actually all three of them that I've seen. It shows starting out with a Cobra Stitch here, which really isn't too necessary as long as you're careful. So I'm going to show you the way that I've come up with, which is basically just jumping right into the pattern. So I'm going to grab both ends in one hand, and then just find the center point. Whoops. Knock my camera out of there. Okay, so here's my center point right there. Now I'm just gonna basically thread this through. So get your paracord to look just like this. You got your paracord coming up through the bottom, and then thread this through until you get to the center point, which is not that spot, but it's right where my fingers are at. So we're just gonna set that right there. Okay. Now that you have this, take your paracord that came up through there and actually get that out of the way. So threading that through you didn't have to do. So we're just going to get that out of the way. Now create a loop. Alright, so you might want to hold down your center point, but create a loop on the right side that goes over the center. Okay. Now pinch everything and create a loop that goes under the center. I keep hitting my camera. Alright, so it might be kind of hard to see. Actually, I'm going to zoom in on this for you just so you can see what's going on here. Pull this down. There you go. So I've got one loop that goes over and one that goes under. Okay. Now what I need to do is you're going to take your right side over and go under both of these green ones, and then come up through this loop and just pull it over to the side like that. You're going to do the exact same thing. Go over top of everything, go underneath, and pull it through this loop. Real simple. Now this is where it can get a little tricky, especially on this first one. What you're going to do is just pull your greens tight, which with all this stuff going on, it's kind of hard to do all at the same time. Now when you start to get close to your knot here, you want to start cinching up your blacks. Okay. Just like that. First one's always the hardest. The alternative to this is using the Cobra weave for your first knot, just to keep everything right where they should be. But it kind of ruins the first part of your bracelet. The pattern really throws everything off. Alright, so now you got that first one done. You're just going to repeat. So the right side over the 2 middle. Hold that there, right in the middle, like that. Create a loop with your left side, and that goes behind the 2 middle and off to the right. This is going to go over everything around the back of the 2. I'm going to zoom in on this for you so you can see what's going on here. You're just going to basically duplicate that on the left side. So you're basically taking your black around and then up through and out to the right. We're going to do the same thing on this side. So this is going to go over everything, under, it's kind of hard to see here, I know, I'm sorry about that, and through that loop. Alright, now the easiest way I found is to pull your greens tight first. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I had a little bit of a twist going on over here in this side here. I had to back it up a little bit and take care of that twist. But this is what you should end up with after that second go around. Now, you're just going to repeat that. So I'm going to do one more here. So, get the blacks out of the way. Alright, so you've got your right side loop over top, it goes over the middle. The left side loop goes behind, so you can kind of see like that if I hold it like this. Okay, so the right side loop is always going to go over the top, the left side loop is always going to go behind. Now you're going to take your black over the top of everything, around the 2, and through this loop. Pull that on through. Now you're going to do the same thing on this side. Over everything, around the 2, and through the loop. Okay, so you're going to end up with something that looks just like this. Okay, now pull your greens tight first, get those nice and good, and then you can go ahead and start tightening these one at a time. And make sure as you're going, you're kind of keeping this bracelet flat. It's going to want to try and curl up this way on you, but if you can keep it under control, it does pretty good. And plus, you want to be able to lay this flat so you can see the line, the black line that separates the 2 green pieces here. Alright, well, I'm going to finish this on up. I'll be back. I'll show you how to finish it down at the bottom. Okay, I am down to the bottom of this, and I think I can get 2 more in here. It's going to be really close. We're going to see. We're going to see what happens here. Maybe just 1. This I didn't expect this to take as long as I did. The first pass that I did, or the first run of this that I did, I only went halfway. So now that I've gone the full length of this bracelet, it's actually taken a little bit of time. I'm not sure from start to finish, but I'd say a good 20 minutes. And I do these for just because of for the video. I do these pretty short. And yeah, I think I've got a little bit of room here at the bottom. I can do one more. Alright, so I'm going to get this last one here. The more compact you can keep your loops here, the easier it is when it comes to pulling everything tight. And working with one hand, that's going to be the key also. If you can get you know, if you can start pulling stuff tight with one hand, that'll help out too. Or holding with one hand while you pull through, you know, pull the loops through and all that with your other hand. Okay, so I don't think I can get another one in here. So the nice thing with this is, well, not on that side, but on this side, the black and the green come out at the same spot. There's nothing to separate them. On this side, it looks like there's two different spots because it's separated like by this middle. So, all we're going to do, oh, let me grab my scissors. They're right behind me. There we go. You're just going to snip the ends and singe them. Real simple, real easy. Cut, singe. I always like singeing the black because you can actually burn the black without having to worry about it, without worrying about it too much, because you actually need to singe and burn the black one because the inner cords are white, and if you don't blacken them, the white will show. But with these, with colored ones, you want to be careful not to singe, so you use the bottom part of the flame to just kind of melt, kind of liquefy the end there. There we go. So that'll lock that in there real nice and tight. Alright, now I'm going to actually cut both of these at the same time. Just like that. And singe them both together. Try to get the black one to turn black without ruining the green. Alright, there we go. Everything pressed in there. Now this bracelet actually turns out to be pretty thick, and it consumes quite a bit of paracord. I would say if you're going to do a 9-inch bracelet, you're going to have to add maybe 6 more feet to this, but really, like I said, just cut it a little longer than you need to. There's no exact science to this. I had somebody kind of complaining to me about, I never tell you an exact measurement of length. It's just because people tie them differently. Some people will tie them loose, some will tie them tighter than others. So I don't do that. Just cut it longer than what you... Actually, just cut it really long. You can always come back to it and, you know, make it a little shorter if you need to. But if you cut it too short and it doesn't make your full bracelet, you're kind of out of luck. But there it is. That's the ladder rack bar bracelet. And I'm going to get this video up there for you, and thanks for watching. Please hit that subscribe button. Like I always say, I've got a new video almost every day, probably on average about 6 a week. So there's probably one day in there that I take off, but for the most part they're coming out pretty quick. I've been doing this for a couple months now, and I think I'm up, this is number 41. Actually about a month and a half. Thanks again for watching, and please subscribe.